Hello, Fuse Nation. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Fusion News. Today is February 15th, 2017, and we have a big show for you right now. I am joined on the phone, Michael Hurley, sports producer and writer for CBS Boston Sports. So, Michael, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. We're still in the recovery period of the chaos that is the Super Bowl, but I think we're starting to level out a little bit here.
Yeah, so you were at that Super Bowl game, that incredible comeback by the Patriots. You were there, right?
I was up in the upper corner of the stadium, and I'm glad I stuck it out to the end rather than go down and try to get to the locker room and stuff early like a lot of people did, because I got to see the most ridiculous football game I'll ever see for as long as I live.
Yeah, no, everyone is talking about that game still. It's over a week and a half, since the game, and people are still talking about that amazing comeback by Tom Brady and the Patriots. But I have to ask you a question. Tom Brady, in my opinion, is the greatest quarterback of all time. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. But do you think the New England Patriots are the greatest NFL franchise of all time?
Uh, I mean, if you go by cumulative accomplishments over the course of 50 plus years, no. I think, you just look historically at the Steelers and the 49ers and the Cowboys and the Packers, teams that have sort of historically been consistently, if not every year, obviously they have their down years, but I think of those teams as sort of the class of the NFL. But I think what's unbelievable about what the Patriots have done since Tom Brady and Bill Belichick joined the team is that they're now fourth all time in postseason victories behind the Steelers, Packers, and Cowboys. They have the most Super Bowl appearances of all time, and it's crazy how much ground they've made up in such a short span. So I don't think historically, if you look at from the birth of the franchise to present days, they're not necessarily where those other teams are. But I think what they've done to join that conversation and be right there with all of those accomplishments is pretty remarkable. But it's been too short of a time. I think maybe if Jimmy Garoppolo ends up being the next Tom Brady and they do this for 15 more years, then we can talk.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And this, of course, we talk about franchises in all the sports, and the NFL is really built not to have this incredible, short time period of this dynasty. You look at the salary cap in football, and you look at baseball where you had the Yankees for so many years, and the NFL is not really built that way. And it's really, not built towards to not do that, dynasty, lots of Super Bowl wins in a short period of time. So do you see the NFL making any more adjustments to try to get away from this dynasty of the Patriots? Because we know Roger Goodell is not a Patriots fan. So
I think the easiest way is to start. I mean, I think by taking away first round draft picks, they kind of hoped that it would bring them down to the pack back in '07 and then again last year. But it doesn't. They're almost bulletproof to that. I mean, there is a limit to how much they can withstand when it comes to losing draft picks. But it's just really a testament to Belichick's next level thinking when it comes to so many things, including roster building. And I think people see the Patriots in the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years, and just say it's the Patriots, it's who they are. But there were 30 players on the 53-man roster heading into the Super Bowl that were not on that previous team 2 years ago. So the amount of turnover they have, it's not like they just build their roster and stick with it and ride it out. Bill's always tinkering with the roster. He's always finding, hidden gems like Malcolm Butler out of West Alabama and guys like Chris Hogan, who turned out to be a huge player in the championship game in the Super Bowl, and Malcolm Mitchell, who's, he went to Georgia. It's not like he was a nobody, but guys like that, they fit a certain mold. They look for a certain character type, and they're able to make it work, and it's been remarkable. And it should be said that none of this happens without Tom Brady. I mean, Bill Belichick is who he is. The team would be good, but they wouldn't be this good if not for having the best quarterback of all time running the offense. So that certainly helps in overcoming the parity that the league wants. But I think overall, Bill is sort of parity proof.
Yeah, now, we mentioned the offseason a little bit there, and, the Patriots have 3 players that they could potentially lose this offseason: Hightower, Butler, and Bennett. Out of these 3, who are on the Patriots offseason books that they need to sign next year to be a successful team like we saw this year?
Well, Butler's a restricted free agent, so technically they could just let that one roll out and hope he shows up to work. I personally, if I was Butler, I would not show up. He's getting criminally underpaid for the role. I mean, he's asked to go one-on-one with Antonio Brown in the AFC Championship game, and he's making $600,000 to do it. So there is a potential situation there, but I guess Malcolm Butler is so humble and straightforward and forthright that I almost think he's just going to show up and make that peanuts for one more year before it really gets paid. But excuse me, Hightower is the guy that's going to cost them a lot of money, and it's the guy they have to spend the money on because he is their defense. He is the heart of their defense, and the linebackers that they have behind him aren't exactly star quality receivers. Your Kyle Van Noy's and your Shea McClellins and the Landon Roberts. They're good role players, but without Hightower to sort of make it all work, it's really a questionable thought process to think you might go into next season without him. So I think they'll end up paying him, which they do to their guys. They paid McCourty, they paid Gronkowski, they pay these guys, and I think ultimately what ends up happening is Bennett probably walks just because he fit in here, he did well, but he is 30 years old. This is probably his last chance to really cash in, and when you win a Super Bowl, your value tends to be inflated a little bit on the market. So I think he's looking at a 2 or 3 year deal where he can really maximize his dollars because he knows that he's as aware as anyone of how short your career can be in the NFL. So I would guess that Butler shows up to work and dutifully makes $600,000. I think Hightower gets paid big dollars, and I think Bennett ends up on some team making some good money.
Now, of course, here in upstate New York, we are a big Dion Lewis supporter and fan, as he, graduated from upstate New York. So I have to ask you, in one of the last plays of the game, it looked like he hurt his knee, which, he's dealt with a lot of knee injuries in the past, but it actually turned out to be a hamstring injury.
Right.
Do you have an injury update for Dion Lewis?
No, the Patriots are difficult enough to get injury updates out of during the season. So if you want to go outside of the season, you might as well just yell at a wall for a while. But he did say after the game that it was just his hamstring. So if that's the case, that's certainly good news. I missed that play live because I ran to the bathroom knowing that, we were in for perhaps another hour or so of football possibly. So I saw it on the TV and I saw him run and get pushed out of bounds, and I just kind of went away. And then someone told me after the game that he was injured, and I didn't quite understand it. But then I saw it. It did look terrible, and a guy like that you've seen suffer such injuries and return to the team would be so important. It was kind of a sad thing to see, but I think he'll be okay if it's just the hamstring. He's got some time to let that thing heal.
Now, Michael, I can't imagine what was going through Roger Goodell's mind handing over that trophy back to the Patriots. Of course, this was a year that Tom Brady was suspended for the first 4 games via the Deflategate. And, what do you think was going through Roger Goodell's mind? Because he boycotted the Patriots. He won't say this, but he basically did for the first 2 games of the postseason as well. Going to see the Falcon games 2 weeks in a row. Didn't go to Foxborough to the Gillette Stadium. So what do you think was going through Roger Goodell's mind?
I honestly think, he's such a unique individual. I don't think he feels shame the way most of us feel shame. So I think for most people that would be a horrifying moment, but he just seems to be so detached from so many situations that I feel like it was put your head down, get through it, and sort of detach yourself from the emotions, because he speaks with such little emotion and human. There's not a lot of human side there when he speaks. When he speaks of emotions, it sounds like he's reading what a robot would say about emotion. So I'm not actually sure it was that painful of a moment for him. I'm sure he would not have preferred it, but in watching it play out, it was, I was watching it on a plane and lack of sleep the morning after. It was maybe not the most alert I've ever been while watching it, but it just seemed like, he's still making his money. The league's still doing well. He probably isn't losing much sleep over it as much as everyone here would like him to. I think he's doing all right.
Now, Michael, of course, I'm hoping for warm weather, and you got some good sports teams down there in Boston. Now you got the Red Sox. Will you be covering the Red Sox? I know they got Chris Sale, David Price, this for the upcoming season. So will you be covering the Red Sox?
Yeah, definitely. And don't forget about Rick Porcello coming off the best year of his career. So there's going to be a lot of expectations on that team. They obviously had a good year last year, made the playoffs, and then couldn't scrap together a win against the Indians. So they still haven't won a playoff game with this current roster. And when you lose David Ortiz, you got a whole lot to make up for. So it'll be an interesting year. I think they'll spend the first 3 or 4 months figuring out who they are and who their alpha is, who's their leader. And you'll go from there. But there's certainly no guarantees, even with those 3 pitches at the top of the rotation.
Yeah, and us Yankee fans here in upstate New York, they'll be a little happy playing the Red Sox now that David Ortiz is not on that team. But do you see, David Ortiz kind of teased a little bit about returning over the offseason. There was rumors, but now it looks like, he's definitely not returning. But would he be surprised if he ever did return?
I don't think he'll return, but no, I wouldn't be surprised. Just because I think when he, thought about it and sat down, he was thinking about how much his body hurt, how much work had to go into getting on the field, and then he just had such a ridiculous season. I don't think even he, in all of his confidence, could have forecast the season he had last year as basically a league leader in, among the league leaders in OPS, slugging, homers, RBIs. I mean, it was like he was 29, not approaching 40. So, if he were to maybe show up in July, I'm not sure I would be completely stunned. I don't expect it, but given the way he played last year, he certainly has something left to give. So I wouldn't be stunned, no, but I'm not holding my breath.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Michael, we'll see what happens. I want to say thank you for coming on my show tonight. And where can the fans follow you on Twitter and read your articles?
It's just Michael F. Hurley, and if you go there on Twitter, there's a link. You can go right there at CBS Boston, and still Patriots heavy at this point, but we're in the transition mode, transitioning to the other sports. And, the Celtics look like they might be ready for a run too. So
yeah, that's true.
There's a lot going on.
Yep, Michael, thank you again for coming on my show today.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Fuse Nation, I just talked to Michael Hurley from CBS Boston. We talked the Patriots, Red Sox, and more. I'm back here at 3:30 with RJ City to talk some professional wrestling. Fuse Nation, be kind to one another. I will see you at 3:30. Thanks for watching.